problem is the wounds in your soul from your past, the trauma that you've dealt with in any area, whether it's physical, emotional, financial, regardless, instead of that being a portal for what's in your spirit to flow through your soul to your body, that's actually become a wall, and it's blocking you from experiencing what's already in your spirit that could actually be manifested in your body. Hey YouTube, Rico McAdory here, Identity King, and today I want to talk to you about something simple but effective called the power of the soul. The power of the soul. Yes, you're a spirit, you have a soul, you live in this physical body. Now, the spirit and the body are not as hard to change as the soul. See, when you become born again and you receive Jesus, Yeshua, as Lord of your life, now your spirit man is instantly changed from who you were in the kingdom of darkness to who you are now as a son or daughter in the kingdom of light. You're in the royal family. However, the hardest part, again, is the soul. That soul fella in the middle is the one that's going to actually try to get you to stay in the place that you're in right now. See, it's one thing to want to jump from one conclusion to the next without really dealing with the soul. It's easier. A lot of times we want to go to the next place, the next level, the next dimension. That's why we get excited when it's a new year and we're like, you know what? This is my year. This is the New Year's resolution, all that good talk. It's all right when we start, you get excited about it. But when you go through the process, when you actually go from January to February and you see that it wasn't like you thought it would be, or it wasn't as easy when you hit a hard spot because you got excited up front. You got excited about the promise, but then you really were focused on the prosperity of where you wanted to go, but you really avoided the process. And it's in the process, write this down, it's in the process where old habits die and new habits are developed. It's the habits, but if you're wanting to go to another place to be somebody else, but you have the same habits of where you come from, then you'll stay stuck in that same area. And the soul we want to talk about today, because of course, and from the word of God, which is a foundation. I'm not pushing anything on you. I'm just letting you know the foundation of which has helped me and helped others connected to me and how it's helped transform their lives. So I'm not coming to you religiously, stuffing something down your throat. I'm actually revealing to you the power and the royalty is already there, but it's going to take a transformation process in your soul to really see what's already there in your spirit for you to actually carry it out in your body. All right. When you look at 3 John 2, says, Beloved, I pray above all things thou mayest prosper and be in health, even as your soul prospers. See, it's one thing, whether it's financially, you want to get to 6 figures or 7 figures, right? And that's a great goal. It's one thing to want that in the conscious part of your mind. But here's the thing. It gets more challenging because now is you're having to break through old thoughts that are in you and in your mindset that have got to be uprooted. You see, if everybody wanted change, if it was easy to do, everybody would do it. Let me say it that way. What happens is, in getting excited to get started, not many finish because now people have to confront what's in their soul that's been blocking what's already been in their spirit from God to them. See, you see these 3 rings here, spirit at the core, soul, and then body. Do you know that when you become born again, you have an inheritance that's already been confirmed, it's already in you? The problem is the wounds in your soul from your past, the trauma that you've dealt with in any area, whether it's physical, emotional, financial, regardless, instead of that being a portal for what's in your spirit to flow through your soul to your body, that's actually become a wall, and it's blocking you from experiencing what's already in your spirit that could actually be manifested in your body. It's like you're praying to God to bless you with something, right? But it's like, you know what? I'm asked you for help and it seems like I'm not getting the help. Why is there a blockage there? It's not that the answer is not there. The answer's already there, but this fellow right here, this soul, that has to be renewed. Now, how do we know that? Because if you look at Romans chapter 12, I believe verses 1 and 2, and I'm going there. I could quote it, but I'm going there because I think that it's very important. And I'm reading the New Living Translation, and it says this, and so, dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you, also, and dear brothers and sisters, I plead with you to give your bodies to God because of all he has done for you. Let them be a living sacrifice, holy and acceptable, which is your reasonable service. Now watch this verse 2. Now in this version it says, don't copy the behavior and customs of this world, but let God transform you into a new person by changing the way you think. See, if you change the way you think, it really influences how you act. But the issue has been, it's hard to change because we've allowed, or in our present or past state, what has happened is we were unaware of some habits that were being repetitively exposed to us. Okay, I'll say it this way. All right. If you keep watching something bad, right? And you don't even, here's the thing, if you keep watching it over and over again, you might think, oh, that's harmless. It's nothing wrong with that, right? So you're in a state already of unawareness. Your guard is down. So over time, that's going to continue to penetrate past that consciousness. And now it's going to get right in your soul. And that soul now is like, for a lot of you computer people out here, I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say this for you computer geeks out there, the soul is like a hard drive. It's like a hard drive that once something gets from or through your conscious into your soul, which the scripture also talks about as the spirit of your mind, once it gets in there, it's there, and you have to actually, instead of repairing the hard drive, you got to replace the hard drive. So it's the replacing process that seems harder than when you allowed the habit to start, because you were unaware of the impact of what you were seeing and what you were exposed to that it would have on you later on. So this is why you got to be careful of what you watch, who you listen to, because what's going to happen is whatever you hear repetitively, that's what's going to resonate and penetrate right here in the soul. And I'm telling you, I'm doing study and research on it through Yes the Word, but you got to consistently hear. Here's a word about this, a key. Romans 10 verse 17 says, faith cometh by hearing, and hearing by the word of God. So watch this. Faith cometh by hearing and hearing. So that means it's consistent. It's repetitive. Faith doesn't just come by what you heard. I think when we go and listen to the messages and to the word on Sundays, or listen to the pastor, we love or okay with being able to hear the word one time on Sunday. But I'm going to ask you a question. How many times are you hearing the word, that same word you heard on Sunday? How many times are you hearing it during the week before the next Sunday? See, it's the repetition. This is how the soul changes. You got to keep feeding it, and you got to keep feeding it, because you got to, once you really understand who you are, your royal identity, that should be able to push you. You feed your spirit, which is the word of God, which pushes your soul. Now, instead of you being body ruled, now you're spirit ruled. So now when you wake up in the morning, you're not going to have that. It may be rough at first to start a new habit, right? But over time, as you consistently do it, the resistance that you face, that's going to actually die down. It's not saying that it may go away, but its temptation will not be as strong because you took the time repetitively to intentionally dictate what comes into your soul. You are responsible for that. That is the only thing that God, even God himself, he doesn't control that soul, because you have the power to decide through your soul. And the dangerous thing about having the power to decide, or the human will, as I heard Dr. Miles Monroe say, it's the very same thing that you can use against the one who made for you to use in the first place. So you can love God and he have a will for you. But if your will fights against his will, he's a gentleman. He's not going to interrupt your will, his will with yours, because your will in your soul is a vital and important part to transforming your life. Look at Luke 9, verse 23. It says, what does it profit a man to gain the whole world and lose not his spirit, not his body, but his soul? Okay, I was talking to Raekwon, a guy here, and I was talking to him yesterday, and I was saying, isn't it interesting? And I don't mean any political fault, whatever you want to say. I'm bringing out a point. What was spoken of on a campaign trail maybe a few years ago, it was for the battle for the soul of a nation. It didn't say battle for the spirit or battle for the body. No, battle for the soul of a nation. Why? Because leadership is designed, the people in leadership must impact or influence your will for you to yield to what it is that they want to accomplish. It's your will. Look, your will is so powerful. If you want to say no, you don't have to accept anything. But and I think Dr. Martin Luther King said, nobody can ride your back unless it's bent. And if your soul has not been healed, if your soul is still wounded, you'll always be in a position of someone riding your back because you don't know who you are in your spirit. I'll say this in closing. Your spirit equals your identity. Who you are, royalty. You are a priest, a royal priesthood. Think about that. So you and I are designed to reign in life, not let life dominate us. So you might feel like you're on the bottom right now, but if you keep growing and keep feeding your spirit that impacts and feeds and transforms your soul, I'm telling you, in your body, you're gonna find who you are, what purpose or problem that you were called to solve, which makes your presence necessary. Then you're gonna walk in that authority. But do you see the equation right there? Your spirit is your identity, who you are at the core. Your soul is your purpose. Why is that important? Because the enemy knows, and even God knows, both the enemy and God, they are coming for your soul, because the spirit needs a body to carry out the purpose of it in the earth. So your soul is important for the person who has a will that they want done in the earth through you. So if you don't know the reason why you're born and the problem you're called to solve, then you'll continue to be a label of what everybody else wants, and you'll never be the authentic version he made you to be. And then thirdly, the body is authority. Think about that. The way you express who you are and the purpose and assignment in which an intent in which you are to carry it out. What is it that you do in your authority? Whether it's speaking, coaching, writing, what is it, or what method are you to express that, to carry out that purpose from who you are? So I wanted to share those things today. Hopefully that helped you. And I would encourage you to go back and watch this, like and share this with other people, because I believe this is one of the most important lessons to understand. Okay? Now I'm going to say this. I do have a special intensive that I'm working on that I actually we're about to release, but it's exclusive. Okay? It's a limited seating. But you're going to go through a 4-session process with me through our identity intensive. Okay. And so that's a group session once a week, but you're going to actually be able to find your royal identity, clarify your purpose, and then also walk with more confidence and authority. So you don't have to bend to what happened around you, but you can actually create in the midst of crisis. Because we're in a time right now, things are happening so fast, change is happening, and you, instead of you being infected or impacted by the change, you realize who you are, and that positions you to create the change that's supposed to come through you. So there's going to be a link below on how you can actually register for that, because it's intense and it's for a reason. It can be available for everybody, but we know it's not going to be for everybody because it really will require commitment. But I promise you, from the testimonials and the life changing that has happened from the people who've gone through it, it will definitely change your life. And I thought about you when I wanted to release it again. And I'm excited to at least partner and work with some people to really help make this happen, because you winning is important to me. Okay. And the whole point of that whole intensive is this slogan right here: to help you be more the authority and dominate your space without compromising your authentic value. So if that's you and you want to know how to take the next step to even apply for that intensive, I'd encourage you to click the link below. And until next time, we'll see you. Stay encouraged.